I took 8 Hypixel Quakecraft maps and completely transformed them. Afterwards, my friend Blackoutburst helped me put them on a completely custom Quake server that he made. And then I took 7 members from my Discord server so we could all test out these maps. I'm planning on doing a ton more content in this custom server, and a lot of it's going to be with you guys. If you want the chance to join future events, be sure to join my Discord server. Link is in the top of the description. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Oh god, we spawned inside of him. So this is my favorite map out of the ones that I've made, I think, just because it actually looks really nice. Well, okay, hopefully all of them look at least somewhat nice, but I really like the aesthetic of this one in particular. Obviously, normally this map is very cold. It might even be called Cold War, so I aptly renamed this one Hot War when I reskinned it. It's a lot of fun. One thing I've noticed is that this is the only map that has nether brick on it and it has such a dark theme like this. It makes it extremely hard to see user names, especially compared to the regular Cold War, which is like all white or light blue for the ice and stuff. You can see names like all the way across the map basically, but on this one, as soon as they're behind a wall, you can't even see their name at all, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Oh, got that last kill while he was lagging there. Oh gosh, we spawned inside of him again. Alright. This is the next. As you can tell, this is pretty much the polar opposite because this is our only, like, fire map. This is regularly demonic. This one, unfortunately, doesn't have quite a clever name as the other one. I just named it Frostmonic for now. Maybe if you guys have ideas for a better pun that I could use or something a little more clever, you could let me know. But this was suggested to me, so I went with it. And honestly, this one's also, like, extremely pretty. The map genuinely looks really nice this way, despite being such a, obviously, stark contrast to how it normally looks. Out of all the maps that we're going to be doing, this is the second to last reskin. There's going to be 3 reskins in today's video, and then 4 map edits that are just, like, different versions of the regular map. That actually went really fast. That's a 52-second game. Pretty impressive, actually. This map right here is the only map in today that's technically official, even though it was removed. This is the Lunar Lost World. It was the Lunar reskin map that was only available for a very short period of time. I wasn't actually around when this was out, so I've never really been able to play it on the actual server, but I believe it came out in 2017 just for a couple weeks for the Lunar New Year's event, and then came back in 2018 and 19, but it hasn't been back since. And unfortunately, Hypixel recently announced that they will no longer be doing any sort of lunar events anymore. So this map will most likely never be seen again, which is quite unfortunate as it's actually extremely pretty. An interesting thing about this one is that I couldn't find a download for this anywhere. So I rebuilt it completely by hand. So everything you saw there was built entirely by me based off of screenshots, which took a long time. This one's a little bit interesting because it's the only map that we're doing today that wasn't actually built by me. It's called Hypixel. I literally found it on Planet Minecraft, and it's actually just a remake of Hustwood, which is kind of interesting because I didn't even realize it until I like downloaded it and started looking around it, and I was like, wait a minute, this is literally just like Hustwood, except they took out the builder's logo, and normally in the middle there's a big M in the center, which stands for Mithrintia. We're the builders of this original map. F63 is having a tough time. He's really lagging, and I'm struggling to hit him because of that. But the build itself is a little bit scuffed and kind of rough around the edges, but I prefer this to the actual Hypixel version of Hustwood, which isn't that impressive, honestly. That's a pretty low bar to beat because everybody hates that map, but I do like this one quite a bit. It's mostly just because it's a lot smaller, and it just functions pretty well overall. And we will actually be seeing another Hustwood remake in the next few maps here, because I also built my own Hustwood remake that is completely different than this one. Don't worry, really the only thing that's the same is the mid. It looks kind of similar. Everything else is a bit pretty much different, so that'll be super interesting to compare my work to something I literally found on Planet Minecraft that was submitted in like 2013. We'll see if I'm any better, but yeah, the only reason I lost that because it wasn't my build, okay? Next up, we've got my edit of Town. I actually made a video about this on my second channel, but I took it down afterwards because after being able to play on this, I found that it's not actually that great. As any of my, Quake viewers will know, Town is an absolutely massive map, almost to a fault, so I wanted to make it quite a bit smaller. And I ended up making it a bit too small, I think, because this is very chaotic, very reminiscent of the original Town before the new spawn points were added. As you guys may have heard for a long time, I've messed around with it on less players, like 6 to 4 players, and it does work really well for that, but 8 players, it is a bit much. So let's balance that out by playing the biggest map that I've built today. This is what I like to call Mega Apex. I literally just merged Apex 1 and Apex 2 together. Oh my god, he's in a boat. What the hell? Where did that boat come from? That actually caught me off guard a little bit. So yeah, honestly, it works pretty well, and it's a little bit jank where the two centers meet. So obviously where I'm standing right now, this is the middle of Apex 2, and this is all Apex 2, and then that entire far side of the map is all Apex 1. And I couldn't come up with a very good way to incorporate Apex 3, but these little towers right here are from Apex 3, so that's all of Apex 3 right here. That's all the representation it gets, is just those tiny towers. And I want to break this boat. I want it gone. And then I can put it down at mid when they least expect it. Okay, they expected it apparently. So yeah, this is obviously a little bit on the bigger side, and it's also a bit laggy. I'm not totally sure why that is. Maybe just because of the world I built it in and all of the decoration. I actually did include Apex 3 outside of the map, so it's not in the playable area, but if you look out of any of the windows, if I die and respawn near a window, I will show it off. If you look outside any of the windows, you can see into Apex 3, just because I thought that would be kind of like a cool touch to add and a way to incorporate it that's kind of more original. But in the end, I think it just causes more lag, so I might have to remove it. Next up, we've got my version of Hustwood, my Hustwood edit. The other one had an actual name. It was called Hypixel. This one, I just named Hustwood edit. I don't really have a proper name for it. But as you can see, I literally just took out the main entire wall, separating the two play areas, because a big problem with the regular Hustwood is that this has always been considered to be like the intended mid, but nobody ever really uses it because there's hardly ever any spawn points over here, whereas that other room over there often ends up getting used as mid. So what I did is I just took out the entire wall, separating them. It's honestly a fun map, but if I was to rebuild this, I probably wouldn't do it, just because I feel like I changed it almost too drastically, and it's a completely different feel from the original Hustwood. Not that it's a bad thing, it obviously plays just fine, but like I said, if I was ever to remake my remake, then I would maybe try to keep it like a little bit more slow paced, kind of like the original. So the last map that I rebuilt today, or the last remake of a actual Hypixel map, is Farah, which probably doesn't come as a surprise because Farah, basically every one that I remade, aside from the reskins, every one that I actually like fully rebuilt and customized was a disliked map. You know, Town has a lot of problems, Hustwood has a lot of problems, and Farah has a lot of problems. They're probably the three most hated maps in the game. So this one, I sort of learned from my mistake, quote unquote, from the last map that I didn't like how I changed too much of it. This one I tried to keep a lot more original to how it is normally. I kept a lot of the same middle elements while just making it a bit more playable. By opening up some parts, I wanted there to be more play on that upper floor, so I made it easier to get up to. Normally there's not so many staircases. I also wanted to prevent camping these hallways, so I made it a little bit harder to do. Obviously it's still possible, but I changed the staircase designs up so that you can't just AD and kind of walk up and down them over and over and get infinite amounts of kills from all the people at mid, which I think actually worked out pretty well. As you can see, the staircase is a bit different as well. It's more steep so that you round the bend afterwards. Like I said, it's not perfect, but honestly, that one's probably one of my favorite remakes. Yo, let me know what you guys thought of my map remakes, and maybe I'll make some more reskins, because I think those are the most fun ones to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I've been Rackles, and goodbye.